conference meeting this November 16th, 2021. Wow, November already. Time flies when you're having such a good time. I apologize for the delay in the start of this meeting, but we had a workshop that took a little bit longer than we anticipated, and but we thank you for your patience, and we appreciate everyone. I just have something to read into the record. Thank you. So the City of Fort Lauderdale is hosting commission meetings in both a virtual and in-person format. For additional information on how to view or sign up to speak at a meeting, please visit the following website, www.fortlauderdale.gov/City Commission Meetings, plural. I'll repeat that. That's www.fortlauderdale.gov/City Commission Meetings. To help ensure decorum, we ask that you please abide by the following guidelines. Please refrain from any behavior that is disruptive, distractive, profane, or inhibits the meeting in any way. 2, while you're on the phone waiting for your opportunity to speak, please mute the meeting broadcast on whichever medium in which you are listening, and to avoid delays in the broadcast. I will call upon you when it's your turn to speak and also notify you when your time has expired. The city has automatically added speakers in the to listen only mode, and you will be unmuted to speak when recognized. Once you have completed speaking, you will be muted once again and may either hang up to exit the meeting or stay connected to listen to the remainder of the meeting. Got that, folks? Okay. Hold on just a moment.
So, Mayor, if I could, we've got an interesting.
Stop being disruptive.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Just so I can maybe frame this afternoon, we don't have a lot on the published agenda. So what's published is commission reports, manager reports. There's an item on an update on the leaf blower. That item, Commissioner McKenzie would like to defer that to a future meeting. So I don't know if it'll be the 7th or the 21st, but we'll likely defer that to a future meeting. Then we have a CRA agenda that has 8 items on it. We have a shade meeting to deal with unsolicited proposals. And then we have a closed door meeting, 4:30 or as soon thereafter. And we have the item with Romania tonight at 5 before coming back here at 6. So we've got a lot to pack in. And when we move to go to the shade meeting and the closed door meeting, right now it's anticipated we'll go to the 7th floor conference room. It's being set up now for us.
Okay. So I see Commissioner McKenzie's not here. I don't know why we're deferring this since we haven't had any kind of update since it was first assigned to him. Does he have like an interim report? Do you know? Has anything happened on this?
I believe he wanted his committee to be able to be here in attendance that he had assembled, and some of the members were not in town. That's the reason for the request.
So why don't we pick a date certain when we can return to this? So let's pick a date certain. You say our December 7th meeting is going to be pretty.
December 7th is pretty packed, so why don't we look towards the 21st?
Okay, let's do that. Does that seem amenable to all of you?
Well, all the leaves will have fallen by then, though. December 21. Right.
Sorry, we're just saying December 7th at the conference?
No,
21.
After that, the 20.
December 21.
December 21 at the conference meeting. Yep, it's good, thanks.
Anyway, okay, so let's start with communications to the City Commission. We basically it was a Sustainability Advisory Board that seemed to provide the only communications this time around. And so the communications to this, the first one is that the Sustainability Advisory Board believes it is important for the Board, Commission, and City Administration to be better informed on the detrimental impacts of climate change on the insurance and mortgage markets in South Florida, the consequential implications for businesses and homeowners in the city, and the potential impact on city tax revenue. The Board requests that the City Commission allow a presentation of a future City Commission conference meeting or conference workshop on the subject of the effects of climate change on the sale of real estate and insurance rates. Who would be presenting that, making that presentation?
Glenn. for Glenn.
Do we have any kind of a study with regard to that?
We would need to identify a specific speaker. The SAB has reached out to a couple people in looking in the financial industry and the risk industry, getting someone to come in with that perspective and talk about some of the changes that are coming and we're seeing in the insurance industry and the real estate industry. The SAB had a speaker from FEMA talking about how their new rates structure for flood insurance is going to more accurately reflect risk, and there will be some changes in Florida as a result of that.
But is this going to be a 30,000-foot discussion about just general trends, or is there some way to focus on specific impacts of Fort Lauderdale?
Well, that could be developed. So if there are some things that the commission's particularly interested in, we're meeting with the SAB on this coming Monday, and we can have a conversation with them about trying to narrow it down. But this has been a topic the SAB has been discussing. We've been talking to people both from the federal government running the flood insurance program, from some people doing modeling of flood risk at the local level. There are several, different areas where we could look for a speaker that could come in and talk to the commission about that.
Okay. Does that sound good to all of you? Maybe in January or something you can...
After the first of the year, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. The next communication, again from the Sustainability Advisory Board, as plans for the Community Arts Park, formerly known as One Stop Shop site, continue to come to fruition, the SAB recommends that the City Commission acknowledge and support the potential developer's commitment to leave at least 76% of the site as undeveloped green space, to protect the 5 largest trees on the property, to comply with the city's landscape and tree preservation ordinance, and to include these commitments in any comprehensive agreement reached with the developer. Given that the project is located on city-owned property, the board also recommends the city require the developer to utilize LEED or LEED equivalent building practices for any structure to be built on the site. These recommendations are consistent with the purpose and duties of this SAB with regards to environmental sustainability, to identify and recommend affordable strategies associated with climate change and conservation, and to encourage developers to practice environmental conservation and sustainable building practices. These recommendations will also help the city achieve its tree canopy goals within 5 years as stated in the comprehensive plan. So, Alan, as you're working out the comprehensive agreement, if you could please consider those as something to include. Does it make sense with everybody?
Well, no, actually, I have a question about that.
Do you have a question?
I do. Thank you, Mayor. So, Alan, maybe you can advise on this, but we don't have a site plan yet. So I don't know how we go forward with what they're saying here. Well, we have a conceptual plan right now. Excuse me?
They just want us to keep it in mind as the site plan evolves.
Again, I think it's premature. I'm not sure. Alan, what are your thoughts?
No, I mean, correctly, there is no site plan. I mean, it's sort of early. A lot of it is code-driven. The leads is aspirational. I don't know that we have those requirements. Those are things that obviously can not necessarily, unless they're in the code, be made contingent on, they can always agree to it, but it really is site plan level recommendations that are a bit early. I don't know that this necessarily would get into the comprehensive agreement.
Also, if we did this, well, why wouldn't we want to do this then with every single project that ever comes forward in the city?
Should.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know why we would just narrow this to one project.
Could I offer?
Do you have an objection to it being with this project?
No.
Okay, so that's all it's about right now.
Okay. Could I offer a comment on the green building component?
Wait, who's talking?
Glenn.
He was.
Oh, there you are. I'm sorry.
Glenn Hadwin, Sustainable.
Same person.
The state has a requirement that that government buildings are built to, but to green building standards, but not required to achieve the certification. And so that's actually guiding what we do here in the city and for all local governments. So you don't have to achieve LEED, but the expectation is you will build to that. There's another standard called the Florida Green Building Council, who has a local standard that can be used instead of LEED as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Anyone have any questions with regard to these communications? There being none, Robert, we postponed the leaf blower update to December 21st.
7th.
No, the 21st. Because
No.
the 7th, he said it was he's already booked.
But the problem I had this time was the people on the committee are out of town for the holiday and they wanted to be a part of the presentation. Staff is ready, I'm ready, but the date that they chose was the 7th.
We can make that happen.
Make it the 7th then. Okay.
But if they're here, we can get it over with.
Okay. All right. Before we go into executive closure session, let's move on to city commission reports. Vice Mayor, do you have a report to give to us today?
She's not here,
She's-
remember?
Is not on.
I thought maybe she would have come by. Okay. I didn't think she would want to pass up her city commission reports.
Well, I think,
Commissioner Glassman, District 2. Oh, no, Commissioner,
No, don't, you gotta get your order
I was just
right.
going to go, I was
No,
going to go in
No,
order.
after what you did to me earlier, I want order in this place.
You need a timeout.
I don't have a, Mayor, I do not have a
You don't
report.
have a
today.
report.
I yield my time to the fine commissioner.
Oh, don't
For
do
the
that,
next-
because he'll use it.
yes, I will. Here I go. Okay, thank you, Mayor and Commissioner McKenzie. Had an excellent International Swimming Hall of Fame board meeting on the 9th. On the 10th, Solid Waste Working Group, and enjoyed my tour of the new James Club facility, although it's located in Oakland Park. The offices do serve people throughout Broward as
Can I
well.
ask you a question?
Of course you can.
In a previous time, you talked about your participation with the Solid Waste Committee. I had requested if you could bring up the issue of recycling materials from commercial establishments, because we currently do not have a recycling program anywhere in the county that I'm familiar with where they recycle from commercial establishments. It's just residential. Is there an opportunity that you might be able to bring that up at your next meeting?
Yes, I'm going to definitely make a note of that, so thank you, because I think that meeting is coming up on the 17th anyway, which is tomorrow, I think I have a meeting.
Oh.
So, thank you.
Is there appetite from the commercial people for that?
Commercial
Well, I don't-
recycling?
The thing is, I hear the rumbling of bottles and cans when I go by some of these bars and restaurants, and there's thousands of tons of recyclable materials that we're not capturing to recycle. So I just think that the more we can recycle in our community, the better. And I just think that these commercial establishments can work with us. I know a number of them have agreed to do it, but we don't have a program to pick it up.
Okay, I'll definitely bring that forward. Thanks, Mayor, I'll get back with you. The 11th, several of us attended the Veterans Day ceremony at the Sandy Ninninger statue, always a very excellent service there as well. And then that evening, we began the round of the light-ups in the city with Light Up Lauderdale and Esplanade Park. Saturday the 13th, it was a pleasure to join many folks from around Broward at Equality Florida's Broward Gala. Very nice turnout. It was really a well done gala. Monday the 15th, was happy to join you yesterday, Mayor, at Broward County's first Pride Crosswalk on Sebastian between Seabreeze and A1A. Coming up, as I mentioned, tomorrow, Solid Waste Working Group for the county. The FDOT's having a Powerline Road and Sunrise Boulevard webinar at 5 o'clock, and I'll be stopping in at the Neighbor Leadership Academy at 6 o'clock. Thursday, the 18th, we have Light Up the Galt, also zero empty spaces in Flagler Village, as well as the FDOT presentation on the New River Crossing. Friday the 19th, I'll be speaking at the Greater Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce Beach Council Board meeting, and then also attending a lunch with some folks to discuss the future of Fort Lauderdale High School. Saturday, the 20th, this coming weekend, we have the 9th annual Turkey and Grocery Giveaway. We'll be doing a proclamation tonight about that. And then also the Fort Lauderdale Pride Parade on Saturday at 11 a.m., and that festival continues through the weekend. Sunday the 21st, Winterfest Family Fun. Tuesday the 23rd, we have Light Up the Beach. And then Sunday the 28th, the Downtown Jewish Center Chabad has a Hanukkah fair and menorah lighting at the Las Olas Oceanside Park, followed the next night by the city's menorah lighting at the same exact location. The first day is night is Sunday the 28th. Sunday the 28th is when the downtown Chabad is going to have their menorah lighting at the Loop, and then the city will have it on the second night, on Monday the 29th. When December 1st, we have Victoria Park Civic Association meeting. Friday, December 3rd, Light Up Sistrunk, and also Bonnet House Holiday Magic, which is always an amazing affair. Saturday, December 4th, 13th Street, Craft Beer, Wine, and Exotic Car Show. Also that evening is the Winterfest Black Tie Ball. Just a couple of comments. I want to congratulate everyone associated with the Las Olas Oceanside Park, known as the Loop. It was voted Best Outdoor Space in Fort Lauderdale Magazine by the readers in the 2021 Readers Poll. And then my only question, Chris, I was hoping you can let us know how the city is going to proceed with the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, recently signed into law in Washington. What is our process going to be for putting together what we'd like to see happen in the city of Fort Lauderdale with regards to funds and projects?
Yeah, so I envision, I guess, a multi-step thing. At this point, we still don't know what the application process is to receive any of those funds. So tonight, later on your agenda, you're hopefully going to approve a couple of lobbyists in Washington. Hopefully you'll approve that contract tonight so we can work actively with those folks who are tied in more to what happens day to day in Washington than maybe we are. I envision us breaking apart this infrastructure bill that was signed yesterday and bringing it to the commission to seek ideas of what already meets our legislative policies. Hopefully you'll adopt those tonight as well, and then get any feedback. I think I've got a fairly good sense as to what the priorities of the commission are as far as infrastructure and specific projects are, but I want to affirm that. And then obviously we'll be active through our lobbyists and other channels to make application for anything that might work for Fort Lauderdale. We've seen initial quotes. I mean, we've seen the headlines about how much the governor has indicated is coming to Florida, but I think we need to validate all of that and recognize that this just got signed yesterday. There will be guidance that comes out on it, as typically does when these big bills get signed in Washington.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's it from me, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Sorensen?
Thanks, Mayor. Just a couple of highlights, some great Civic Association meetings this last week. Thank you to all our veterans out there, currently serving veterans, having served. Country's wouldn't be the same without you, so thank you. A Cut Above Butcher and Provisions is now fully open on Cordova Road. I went to the ribbon cutting on Saturday. That was awesome.
Is that a kosher butcher?
Not that I know of, but come on by. They have plenty of goodies. You think you'd love to hear your hands.
Thank you.
Yes. Sunset Presbyterian Church on Sunday celebrated its 64th anniversary, and so it was great worshiping there. And they do a lot of great work in the community. So thank you to Pastor Bryce there. Let's see, a couple of questions. I guess, Mayor, one is, and you're probably tracking this, is theirs, and Daphne might be able to correct me where I'm wrong on this, but there's a Senate Bill 224, which is around circulating in committees in Tallahassee right now around allowing home rule for smoking in public places, in other words, municipalities and so forth, to be able to do that. So I was wondering if we as a commission might be willing to support that and draw a resolution to support that. Thank you.
Stephanie, can you give us a little clarity on what that bill represents?
Yes, so there's Senate Bill 224 by Senator Gruters. Can everybody hear me? Yes, okay.
Yeah.
And it was heard in Community Affairs, the Senate Community Affairs Committee about 2 weeks ago for Committee Week. It was unanimously approved, and what it would do would give more It would allow local governments more regulation, more regulatory authority to regulate smoking on public beaches and parks that are owned by city or county. And there is a companion bill by Representative Fine, House Bill 105. It has not been heard in committee, but we are closely monitoring that piece of legislation.
So that wouldn't come up in the special session. That would come up in the regular session, correct?
Regular session, yes.
Yeah, so I'd love to get a resolution just
So
Supporting
maybe we
that.
could put a resolution together between
That's-
now and the beginning of the session, Alan, for this commission to consider and hopefully support to allow us to regulate smoking. Now, that would, does that include the beach?
yeah.
Well,
Yes.
we don't own the beach, though.
No, we don't.
Some of it you do.
The state owns it.
We do own some of it, up to the high mean water line. The state would have it, and then there's certain portions, as you know, that are private, but there are portions of it that we could do.
What do you mean we own it?
It's city property.
No, what part of it? Because it's my understanding,
It's
all
a
that sand.
hodgepodge. It's a hodgepodge. So
What is a hodgepodge? I don't know.
you have to look at a map because there are
Yeah, but
little
you're telling me
pockets.
something and you can't describe it. I can tell you that the state owns the beach. So please help me. I'm not trying to just, tear what you're saying down. I want to know what parts do we own?
There are parts.
Parking lot?
Yes. The state doesn't own the entire beach. So there are pockets that are privately owned.
I get that. I understand private.
Okay. And then up to the high water mean line, the state owns. So right by the water. So this came up with Tortuga years ago because people would just walk and circumvent and try to go by what we couldn't block off because that's state owned. But the upland, for the lack of a better term, portion of the beach in the non-private areas is technically a city park. So there are areas that we control and there are areas that we would be able to do
They're
that.
technically city parks, but they're owned by the state.
I
the
do not
land.
think so.
Can you give me some clarity on that? Because I would really love to understand that.
So
I
you're
get the
saying-
parking lots, yeah.
Because we wouldn't have been able, for example, when we closed the beaches, right, during COVID, we wouldn't have had the authority to do that if we didn't have control of the beaches.
Please bring me something back so I can understand. Otherwise, because I think I've been wrong all this time. If you're clearly indicating me that there are hodgepodges and those hodgepodges are the sand and, the seashore. And I want to know what it is.
So when you say the high water mark, so from the ocean, when the ocean is at high tide and it reaches up the sand to a certain point, that's the high water mark.
That's my understanding. I mean, the measurements
Right.
are a little
And
bit
that's what,
technical,
and
but,
who owns from that point into the water? That the state owns,
right.
And no, so coming west from that line, that imaginary line, coming west to the wave wall, who owns that?
That, my understanding, in the portions that are public would be ours.
Is ours.
Now, there's like
Unless
in
it's
front
owned
of,
by a private entity.
right, for example, in front of Marriott Harbor Beach, that's a
And-
private
and-
beach.
And Bonnet House and things like that, right?
Right?
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
So that would
Well,
be,
I'll
we
get
could
you more
include that
clarity.
in our
So,
smoking.
but no,
Yeah.
I want to validate it because I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll look into that. But I don't think he knew.
I'm not saying, because he's saying he'll get us to,
Yeah, he'll get to us.
yeah, I want to know what it is.
Okay.
Maybe ultimately, Alan, Chris, if we could get maybe a map just showing whose is what for the beach, that'd be great. Yeah, so you can see it all visually too. Okay, great. Thank you, Mayor. One other question. This is for Chris. Thank you, Daphne. Appreciate it. Chris, when we talk about undergrounding utilities and FP&L, Harbor Beach had been on the list for a while, and just wanted to see kind of progression, timing, how we're looking on all that.
So I'd have to defer to Public Works on that for an answer. I know we've got the one project that's moving forward, and then we've got several other neighborhoods, Harbor Beach, one of them, Idlewild, some other isles in Las Olas, but I don't know where Harbor Beach is in the process.
Mr. Dodd, how are you?
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. I don't know specific on that one. We have been focusing on the process in Las Olas Isles, refining that. And I can put together, and I think Commissioner Glassman also asked questions about undergrounding. So we can put together a paper and through the city manager's office inform you as to all of the neighborhoods that are being considered and the process that we're following.
Yeah, thank you, Alan. That'd be great. Thanks, Chris. That's great. Mayor, that's all I've got.
That's it? Okay, very good. Is that 6 pages? No. The wonderful thing over the past few weeks is we've done some ribbon cuttings in some beautiful affordable housing projects that our housing authority has been able to complete. And my hat's off to those folks who continue to provide great product and help us to alleviate our housing shortage, our affordable housing shortage. I know we're still not there, but every new development is one that we're very proud of. And so Tam and everybody that works with your organization, thank you so much for what you've done. Let's see. I attended the Exotics on Las Olas. Did you get to go, Robert? Would that be something you would do with a car show? Did you get to go to that?
Pretty awesome. Yeah.
Was it?
Oh, yeah.
It was the most amazing car show, and they say it's the biggest in the country and the best in the country. And it started at 10 o'clock, and people were there at 9:59. I mean, it was an amazing show in District 4, and another great event in District 4. And,
We do our best, Mayor. We do our best.
And but anyway, it was mobbed, and I was, it's really amazing that they could sell cars for those prices. But that was a great event for our community. Did a proclamation November 9th to the folks who were cast members of Come From Away. I don't know if any of you had seen the musical, which ended its last performance on Sunday and will continue to go around the country. But it was to recognize the return of Broadway and other stage shows to our Broward Center. So they did an amazing job. They practice really important COVID protocols, and I think everyone should feel safe going to theater, whether it be the Parker or whether it be the Broward Center. Kelly Shanley, thank you for all the work you've done to ensure the safety of our community and to continue to bring great entertainment to our city. So thank you. I attended a panel last week called The Real Deal Real Estate Showcase. I was on a panel with Mayor Francis Suarez, Daniela Levine, who's the mayor of Miami-Dade, the mayor of West Palm Beach, Mr. Williams, and Scott Singer, the mayor of Boca Raton. The five of us talked about trends in our cities and where we felt the real estate market was going. It was attended by over 4,000 people. All I can say is I'm very happy to be in Fort Lauderdale, much less chaotic than Wynwood, and we have a proud community to be thankful for. So getting down there was just a nightmare. Let's see. We had a very moving Veterans Day ceremony in front of the Sandy Ninninger statue on Veterans Day. I want to thank all the people that helped put that together, city staff, Chris, and I believe Parks and Rec was involved in making sure that continued to be a success. And, just thankful for all of our folks, as Commissioner Sorensen mentioned earlier. Thankful for all of our men and women in service who keep us safe and protected. Let's see. I'm trying not to repeat the things that Commissioner Glassman said.
Mayor, I was very impressed with you hitting some of those high notes during the Star Spangled Banner, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I remembered the words.
Yes.
So November 17th, which is tomorrow, ribbon cutting for Sushi Maki, 200 East Las Olas. You going to be there, Commissioner? Sushi Maki?
Oh, no, I can't make that tomorrow,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Well, can I have your portion? Can I eat yours?
If you would take home a roll for me and just bring it by,
Yeah.
Okay.
thank
For-
you.
For everyone.
Appreciate-
Thank
Spicy tuna, thank you.
you. Me too. Lobster.
So the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce is having a national conference at the Diplomat, and I'm going to be there to give a presentation, a proclamation. You mentioned Light Up the Galt. Let's see, I'm trying to get through all these things. On November 24th, our police department will have a promotional ceremony at 10 a.m. at the Lauderdale Yacht Club. I'll be attending that. I don't know if anyone else is aware of that, but anyone who's interested in coming, please, please feel free to come, and you're all invited. December 1st at the Galleria Mall, there will be a commemoration of World AIDS Day at 8:30 a.m. I'll be giving opening remarks there. And I guess that's it. So that concludes commission reports, city manager reports. Do you have anything?
Nothing that's not included on the agenda.
Okay. All right. So does anyone else on the commission have any questions or comments you'd like to make before we go into our closed door session?
We might,
can't go
Mr.
until
Mayor,
4:30,
well, correct, but the time having reached 2:35, we could do the CRA meeting, and then we can go to the shade meeting, and then we'll wait till 4:30 to do the closed door.
So the city commission conference meeting is now concluded, and let us convene the CRA, the Community Redevelopment Agency Board meeting. And if you could please call the roll.
Vice Chair Moritas, not present. Commissioner Glassman,
Here.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Here.
Commissioner Sorensen.
Here.
Chair Trentalis.
Here. So let us go to R1. This is a resolution authorizing a budget amendment, accepting a $20,769,000 bank loan from Truist Bank, and appropriate $25,716,561. Of that amount, $23,260,940 for debt repayment and business incentive projects, $2,455,621 for debt service principal and interest loan payment. Anyone have any questions with regard to that? There being none, someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
A resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing a budget amendment, amending the Community Redevelopment Agency budget and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Chair Trentalis.
Yes, and the resolution is approved. That's a big bank loan.
A lot of good projects.
Yes, I know. Okay, R2, resolution approving a $4 million CRA Development Incentive Program loan to 909 Northwest 6th Street LLC for a mixed-use commercial development project to be located at 909 Sistrunk Boulevard, authorizing the executive director to execute any and all related instruments and delegating authority to the executive director to take certain actions. One person signed up to speak, but that's probably just to answer questions, okay? Anyone else on the commission have any questions, comments? There being none, someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
A resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency approving a forgivable loan in the amount of $4,000,000 to 909 Northwest 6th Street LLC, delegating authority to the executive director to execute any and all related instruments, delegating authority to the executive director to take certain actions and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Can we go back?
Sure.
And Debbie, please bear with me. Our relationship is strong, but come on up to the microphone. Your client is who?
Fuse Group, that's headed by A.L. Peretz. For the record, Debbie Orshevsky representing the applicant here.
And would you tell me how many properties they own on the Sistrunk corridor?
Well, they have their main offices across the street from the properties that's the subject of today's hearing, 900, 906, in fact, where the CRA offices are. Then as you move east, they own the property at the corner of Northwest 7th and Powerline, Northwest 7th Avenue and Sistrunk, almost that entire square block, and a piece just to the east of that. And they also have recently opened a rehabilitation of a building that is now ground floor retail along Powerline just north of Sistrunk. So they have a number of parcels that they have been able to acquire within the corridor.
How many other properties do they have in that Northwest Progresso area? Even the warehouse district over in the Mass District?
I'm not familiar with any of their holdings there.
And the reason why I'm asking this is because when I first met the Fuse Group, I was very excited about what they wanted to do and intended to do in the 6th Trunk corridor in particular. But what I've noticed with them are a couple of things. One is they don't have any of their projects completed that we have incentivized, or whether it was facade or what have you, and there are empty buildings. Even with the facade program we did with the CRA building, Diamond Core is the only one that has a new tenant. We have been tenants in the CRA building prior to him buying that building out of foreclosure. The bottom floor that you mentioned on the north side of 9th Avenue has been vacant. And now you're going over to the Bass Brothers project now, asking for these dollars, which I was extremely excited initially. But I'm kind of disappointed in the Fuse Group and what they haven't done on the corridor, and their rents. And a lot of people want to come there and do things, but they can't afford it. And we're now talking about giving you $4 million more, and you have right there on that corner, 1, 2 empty buildings. And we even approved over in Steve's district on 9th Avenue on the eastern side of the street for the vegan restaurant to come there, and that has taken forever. And these projects started way before we even dealt with Smitty's. Smitty's has been up and running now for almost a year now, and had similar problems with the drainage, parking, and what have you, but were able to make it through the threshold, and they have the projects up. To me, I think the Fuse Group is land banking. They bought a lot of warehouses over in the Mass District that are now sitting empty because they're running some of the smaller business people out of there with their rents, and that have been there since I can remember. I know we're looking at a long-term plan over there to do something different in that area, but these folks don't have anywhere to relocate to, and not all of them look like me. It's just a lot of small mechanics. It's just small mom and pop businesses, and we're supposed to be in a CRA where we are incentivizing the developer, and they're supposed to be affording some type of opportunities to the people in this square CRA boundaries. And I just don't feel comfortable with it. I'm not going to vote for this project. I'm not going to vote for anything else these folks bring to the table. I'm so disappointed in where they are, and I've expressed this to the group, and they have another piece that I think we approved over by 7th Avenue, just north of the service station, promised this wonderful building, and here it is, 6 years later, however many years later, they have done nothing.
If I could clarify some points, Commissioner.
And I want you to, but I'm so disappointed in the Fuse Group, and I see you in the back, but I'm very disappointed.
Yeah.
No, don't speak.
And you can come up next and explain, but I'm tired of empty buildings when we give money out to folks on the 6th Trunk corridor. And anybody that follows this footprint moving forward, I'm not going to support their projects because we've incentivized you guys to no means. And to have empty buildings on this corridor and then come back and ask us for money, to me, Mayor, it defeats the purpose. CRA is sunsetting.
Clarify
But
something.
to come back and want to drink again,
I'd like to
Wait,
clarify.
he's not finished speaking, so just wait.
so go ahead and
Okay, so, Sheriff Stacey, and can you please, get as close to the microphone as
Sure,
possible?
how's that?
Okay.
So let me clarify a few points. And Eyal Peretz, who's the CEO of Fuse, is here, and he can round out any of my comments if he'd like. First of all, the building at the 906 building, the entire second floor of that building is the Fuse Group's headquarters. They have fully staffed. They run not just their development operations, but their other companies that they're involved with out of that major headquarters. So we have, an employment base there that continues to be available to whomever is able to work in those kind of financial settings. In terms of the ground floor retail there, as well as the ground floor retail on the building that's north on power line north of Sistrunk, those rents, because we did a comparison, are competitive with the rents that they're getting on the 13th Street corridor. There's a similarity in terms of economic development and level of rehabilitation and redevelopment between that corridor and Sistrunk. Granted, Sistrunk has a completely different cultural element, but in terms of pure economic analysis, those are comparable, and our rents are comparable with them. One of the things and one of the reasons that we come to you for this incentive today is because the cost of construction and everything else that, as you know, has been skyrocketing. And the ability to build new commercial development. Residential development's going gangbusters. Commercial and office in particular is still struggling. But Fuse is committed to this community, committed to this neighborhood, and with your assistance, they will bring an office building to Sistrunk, a new state-of-the-art office building with ground floor retail that has not been seen in this community in decades. In addition, part of the challenge of the 900 building for retail and the 600 building on Powerline is that those were rehabilitations. They don't have the same size, dimensions, and depth as a new build, so that this new build may in fact be more attractive to the kinds of tenants that we're all hoping will come back to the corridor. You want to add?
Sistrunk Market was a rehab. Smitty's was a rehab, and there's others parcels along that corridor that equivalent, in my opinion, that have been repurposed or about to get repurposed in the corridor. And that's what you bought, an existing building. And the only people who have benefited, in my opinion, is the Fuse Group. They have their headquarters upstairs. They have the CRA who was already there in that middle building. There's not one new client other than themselves in their buildings. The vegan restaurant, that lady's, she's about to go out of business now, waiting so long for her build out to take place.
I think Eyal wants to provide a bit more information.
So Ms. Olszewski, let me ask you
Yes.
something. Tell the community what exactly is going to be built with this loan money, and how much investment from the company is going to be part of this package.
Okay, let me start with, this project was approved as a mixed-use commercial development, and it's at the site of what was the Bass Brothers supermarket, and I put supermarket in quotes because what they were selling there was not exactly what we wanted to see on the
All right, but
street.
aside from all that, what is it, just
So
answer my
it's
question.
ground floor retail of about 8,000 square feet and then 16 or 30,000 square feet of office. The construction cost of that is about between 16 and 17 million dollars, and it will provide workspace and office space, new state-of-the-art, as I said, in this corridor where there has been no new office in decades.
So the buildings that your client, across the street rehabilitated, which is also office space, how much of that is currently occupied by tenants? Yes, please come up. Please introduce yourself and.
I'm Eyal Peretz from Fuse Group. Before I respond, I want to thank actually Commissioner McKinsey, because this is a direct communication that I appreciate, and I value that, and I can provide a lot of information. So with regards to the 612 building, which we just received the certificate of completion about 10 days ago, 3 out of the 4 bays are rented to tenants, and it's retail, it's not office on that one. With regards to the 900 building, which we occupy, half of the second floor, there is another technology company that is occupying the other half of the floor that moved there about 2 years ago. And we recently signed a lease for the corner unit, which is about 2,000 square feet, that will house a barbershop with a local barber that is moving in there, and will have also a certain, beauty parlor, that for ladies, that to do nails and hair. And we are also in the process right now of finalizing agreement with a working space that will be connected with a coffee shop downstairs, which will basically put the building in full capacity. That's the 900 building that we discussed. Now, frankly speaking, I would have loved to see this faster myself. I have no benefit from an empty building personally. There is no financial benefit to Fuse Group as an owner from an empty building that does not produce rent. All we're doing is we're cutting checks, on a monthly basis to cover costs, to cover, bank responsibilities and liabilities that we have. The other thing is with regards to the warehouses that we own in the area, which we recognize are, I will say, almost like a second tier in the process, because we believe that the initial development will take place on Sistrunk. At this point, with all the properties that we have, only one property is vacant, and the tenant, that's on 837 Northwest 8th Avenue, and the tenant was evicted over there after we found out that they're dealing with illegal substances in the area, in the building, so they were evicted from the space. So all the other bays that we have right now are occupied and full.
Okay, thank you.
They're not occupied because the vegan restaurant's not there. The other two tenants you just signed aren't there. And it's taking you this long to get a CO on a building, probably one of the first buildings that we...
What do you mean?
612 on the east side of 9th Avenue?
That was an absolute nightmare for us as well. What happened over there, we had a collapse of the drainage system, and that basically took us on a complete spin that probably elongated the process with this project for about 8 months. We had to redesign the system. We had a major issue with our insurance company over that, with the contractor that was dealing with this. It was an absolute nightmare from our perspective as well. It was terrible in every possible way.
And what do you think happened to that little mom and pop vegan lady that came and really wanted to move in 8 or 10 months ago?
With Sharon on a weekly basis, I spoke.
Yeah, but her business is crippled. Crippled.
I understand.
Yet still, she's going to pay market rate, just like Northeast 13th Street, which, in my opinion, has a better support system of the Northeast 13th Street corridor, and largely thankful to back then Commissioner Trantalis and his efforts, and now being continued by Commissioner Glassman. They had a plan for what they wanted, created their own CRA, not through these type of dollars, but their own funding. And that place is thriving because of the leadership and the commitment to the business owners. We've even had properties exchange ownerships, and those people that purchase are already up and running. No one is dragging like they're dragging on the Sixth Trunk corridor. And to come back to us now to want to drink to the tune of $4 million, I just don't see it in what you have produced. You got the CRA building with full tenants, and then we later came back and occupied the bottom floor with housing and community development. The Diamond Core Fitness Center next door, they're paying $5,000 a month for rent for that space, and you can't get 10 people in there to spend. But when do we turn around and say, hey, you know what, community? Let us incentivize the folks that are going to be renting these buildings. You're getting all the money up front.
I do not get all the money up front.
I mean, but you're getting money to do the facades. You're getting money to improve the buildings. And then these tenants are paying market rate based on your study. I could do a study tomorrow. These CRA areas weren't intended for folks to come in and pay market rate.
We are asking for less rent than
Yeah, based on what you're comparing it with.
Based on what, I'm sorry?
What you're comparing it with.
On Sistrunk.
You said Northeast 13th Street.
I did not say that.
She said it.
The rent that we are asking is much less than on 7th Street on Sistrunk.
First of all, there's not a whole lot on the Sixth Trunk corridor, first of all.
I'm comparing it to...
In terms of what is there as an economic engine. We're getting there, but I'm just not satisfied with where you are. And I got in a car and I drove with you to Miami, Little Haiti. We've been all over. I was so excited. I just knew you were going to be that person that come in here and just knock it out of the park. But you've come into the park, and the park now is closed.
Well, wait, you have to admit that.
I'm not admitting anything. And you're not going to put any words in my mouth tonight because I am disappointed with this group.
Okay, but one has to admit that the transformation that this company has made on that corridor with some of those buildings and bringing in companies that were heretofore not even interested in that area.
Before he bought the building, hold on.
Hey, you have
Before
a
he
right
bought the building,
have
before
a
it
right
went into foreclosure, that building was fully occupied, both floors.
So the amount of investment they have made in that corridor, I think, is commendable, and we thank you for the
But that's not
amount of
factual,
interest
Mayor.
that you have in that area.
It's not factual.
I hope we can continue to partner with you to continue the trend of redeveloping that area and bringing economic activity up. So, I mean,
But those are
my
not
opinion.
factual. That's not factual.
All right, so does
not factual.
someone like to introduce the resolution?
But I'll tell you this.
Okay.
I'll tell you this, and I can't talk again. Whether you want to, you can have the vote, and I'll probably lose this vote.
Go ahead.
But what I will not do is support the Fuse Group moving forward in this district. And what I say go a long way in this district. I've sent countless people to you to rent space.
Okay.
But if I could, Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to ask Commissioner McKenzie, I mean, what you say about this matters a lot to me. What is them coming back with some improvements or corrections? Is
They
that?
haven't even painted the three
Possible.
buildings that we gave them the money to do the outside with. They haven't even
Yeah.
painted them yet.
Yeah. They haven't painted them?
They haven't even painted them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Other people on that corridor that have stucco buildings are getting cited by code.
Uh-huh. I don't know, I'd love to, yeah.
If I could respond, all of the commitments that were made through the CRA, which were incorporated into a few of the buildings that have been finished, were met and they were finalized and have changed many aspects, particularly from about 9th to 7th on the corridor. The financial investment that Fuse has made here and the commitment they have is really now just getting to a point where it's starting to take off. We know that there was a point when Flagler Village just exploded. A lot of different forces came together. Sistrunk is getting more and more attention with changes like getting the new, I can't think of it,
Sistrunk Market or?
the project that Commissioner McKenzie, you championed for the old Mizell Center. But
I championed for Sistrunk Market. I championed for Smitty's. I even championed for this. I voted for the rezoning of these buildings.
we appreciate
I'm just
that.
disappointed as to where we are and what we're doing. I'm very disappointed.
Given the level of commitment that this company has made to the city of Fort Lauderdale and specifically to the Sistrunk corridor, we would ask you to support this. We'll be happy to report about the activities. Commissioner McKenzie will provide regular reports to you about leasing activity, construction
I
activity.
bet you will to get $4 million.
And begin
I'd do it too.
Begin that dialogue. Without that kind of incentive, you really can't make these projects work. It's why you do this. It's why you've given millions and millions of dollars to different developments over the time, some of which have performed and some of which haven't. This particular developer, landowner, has performed in the spaces where he's been asked, where he got incentive.
He has performed in his own mind, in his own time. This is a sad day for what the intended purpose was for Sistrunk. Now, if this is over on 13th Street Northeast, it would not be acceptable in the condition that it's in. If it was on Las Solas, it wouldn't be accepted in the condition it's in. But just because it's Sistrunk doesn't mean we're going to take a lower standard of operation, attention, and just painting the building. Paint it.
Debbie,
Know of any issues. If there is an issue with the design on the existing buildings, we'll be
I'm
happy.
talking about paint, Debbie. Paint.
I-
Mold on the front of the building.
Mr. Peretz, can I ask you a question? Have you, apparently the district commissioner feels that there are some deficiencies in some of your performance. Have you made an attempt to contact him
I have.
to, I'm sorry?
Yes, I have.
We've been
And have
communicating.
have you had any response from his office?
Recently, it's been a little bit more challenging, but I'm happy to sit with the commissioner and address any issue that he's raising. I'm actually appreciative of communicating and addressing these issues. Because some of it, I feel that a direct communication will be very helpful in clarifying.
Have you had direct communication with him?
Unfortunately, I was unable to set up a meeting.
Okay. So do you feel that some of these matters might be resolved to the community satisfaction if you were able to have that?
I believe so.
But
At least I'll be able to clarify some.
You know what? In the past, you would call me on my cell phone, and I would come to you wherever you were, and I'd get in the car, and I'd give you the rest of my day. I would come to your office. I would walk through every department.
Correct.
I would do. I haven't gotten those calls in a while.
Commissioner, I respect you a lot, and I would say that I have tried to reach out to your office several times to set up.
Before you could call me, I gave you my cell phone. That's the kind of relationship we had.
Hey,
Because I believed in you. I believed in your vision, and even the bigger vision, what we're going to do down with the warehousing. I believed in it, but I haven't seen that type of traction to make me. I'm almost termed out. I won't even get an opportunity to even enjoy the fruits of my labor.
3 more years.
Yeah.
This is not a funny matter. I'm serious about this, and I may lose this vote, but I won't lose the battle.
Well, hey, if I could just,
I'm not fighting, I am not fighting here.
I just,
Yeah, but you just fell into the trap that the mayor set by saying, "Have you communicated with me?" Before, it was very easy to communicate with me. Whether we walked around, or whether we got in each other's cars, or whether we went down and got, bagels down in Wynwood, we had a great relationship.
I agree.
Okay.
so just a suggestion, Mayor, if I could, I'm not comfortable, just me personally, moving forward until Commissioner McKenzie's comfortable moving forward. That's just me. So if you all can talk and work together and spend a little bit more time, and then for me, just me, come back, that's what I'm going to be comfortable with. Just want to share that. It's just my perspective.
So do you want to defer this?
I think we should, Mayor.
We don't have a full commission right now. So
We'd be happy to meet with Commissioner McKenzie.
We had enough to defer Bahia.
So we'll move to. Why don't we move to defer this to our next meeting?
Mayor, I do have a question. So what do we want to see happen and accomplished between now and whenever we have the next meeting? What's gonna change the dynamic here? Just so I know, because right now I was prepared to move forward with this because I do appreciate the level of investment. And when I read the minutes of the CRA board, they voted unanimously in support of this. So, there is some evidence here to say that we should keep moving forward. It's been a tough year and 8 months. The past 20 months have been tough. There have been a lot of extenuating circumstances. I do remember, and Commissioner McKenzie, I know you mentioned Smitty's a lot, but we went through lots of meetings with Smitty's. They ran into lots of issues, and the commission was very patient, and we moved forward, and we did extra funding, and we did give that time, and
We
we
did
wanted
the same thing here.
Right, we wanted to see it succeed, so we were patient and we moved forward and we gave it our best effort, and
That's
now
a good
it's
point, because if you look at not what he's trying to do here, the other 3 buildings, very similar to Smitty's. Same thing with the parking, the drainage. Exact snapshot. The additional money, same. We didn't have much of a challenge as we did with Smitty's in difference of opinions, but we allotted that opportunity, and I participated, supported it. I'm not comfortable with them now moving forward with a $4 million loan
Answer his
on a new
question.
building.
What are you looking to achieve by a deferral?
I have to sit at the table and talk about it.
Say it again.
I have to sit at the table and talk about it. I don't know what it is he's trying
I
to
think he
achieve.
needs to spend some time with a developer.
I voted for the rezoning to put this very same building up that he's asking for the money for. I wanted this.
Okay, so
But I mean, if you look at the agenda item, again, I want to just know what it is we're trying to accomplish in that meeting, because, I'm reading what's in front of us. What is going to change the dynamic? So for Commissioner McKenzie to be pleased to move forward, or to satisfy Commissioner Sorensen's request that Commissioner McKenzie meets with Mr. Perez and
Building with his
council.
own money, not our money, because he owns these buildings. I don't take away property rights from people, okay? That's one thing I don't believe in. It's not like this is our property. He purchased this building.
Right.
So if he feels so strong in his dream, he's going to have another empty building, fund it, and don't take our money.
So Commissioner McKenzie, will a meeting with the applicant make you want to approve the resolution for the $4 million
Until I have that
incentive
meeting.
program loan?
I don't know until I have that meeting. I don't know.
You're not going to have the meeting?
I said I would not know that until I have a meeting with him so I can iron out some of the things that I want to iron out. But I'm not going to sit here. You want to move forward with it, move forward.
Well,
But the
I'm just trying, I want to be respectful to the district
Well, if you want
commissioner.
to be
but-
respectful, then I just told you how I felt about
Right.
this group.
I understand. But I want to know,
About the group overall, not this project.
right, but will a meeting,
But here it is. They've had funding on 3 buildings already from CRA. I support it. I want to get out of doing business with this group with CRA dollars.
I think they've been magnificent. I don't know
Well,
what you're talking about.
You think what you want to say? You don't live on
You
Sistrunk?
want to do any more with these people? These people have been an angel.
You don't live on the Sistrunk corridor?
I go down
What do you
there
think is
all the
wonderful?
time. I
You don't
see
go
the
down there all the time. You don't even come to half of the events on Sistrunk. Give me a break.
Try to condemn them for things that
Do
they
you,
haven't
have you seen the condition of those buildings?
amazing. And
Have you seen?
contributing. I have seen
We are the biggest tenant they have.
You're just making this up because
You think so?
like him.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, yeah. Show your love. I love that.
well, again, if,
I tell you what, show the people on Sistrunk how you really feel.
You cannot.
Go ahead, support
These
it.
people have been completely
These people have empty buildings.
area where nobody was willing to invest.
Empty buildings I do not want.
Criticizing them, that's shame on you.
Shame on you for coming to Sistrunk, claiming you come down there every day. You don't come down there. You come when it's convenient for you.
okay,
I live over there.
well, gentlemen, may I just repeat my question? So my question is to Commissioner McKenzie. Will a meeting do anything to affect the resolution approving a $4 million CRA Development Incentive Program loan?
Have the meeting and see what the outcome is, Commissioner. I don't know until I have that meeting. I answered it. This is
Well, I
my third
only
time
asked because you just said you don't want to do any more CRA dollars to the applicant.
in addition to what we've already done with this
But that's what this resolution
and they have
is.
buildings. He just got a CO that we gave him money for how many years ago?
I understand, but this resolution
The
to,
part about this, the small mom and pop people hurt when they can't occupy these buildings that we're giving the funding to these people.
All right, so I move to delay until the next CRA meeting. That's my motion.
It's gonna be a 2-2 tie. A second.
when, the next CRA meeting is when?
It would be December the 21st.
Okay, so there's a
The next
motion
CRA
on the
meeting is
floor.
December 21st?
We can call one at any commission day, but I think at this point, we don't have one scheduled for December the 7th. But
So that's 5 weeks. And if I could just ask the applicant, is that going to work? Or is there a time issue here for any reason? Any kind of outstanding
Don't blame it on my
commitments,
office,
bank
sir.
loans, any kind of bank issues, any kind of outstanding issues that can't wait till December 21, you said?
I think that would be the next naturally scheduled meeting. We could call a meeting on the 7th. We would still have time to do
Well,
that.
the 7th is 3 weeks. We have a rare 3-week break now. Does that, I mean, I want to just find out if timing is an issue here.
Timing is not critical. It's more important to us to have time to meet with Commissioner McKenzie.
Perfect.
And address the issues that he's raised and clarify much of what has been said today.
Great, that answers my question. So I would say if you could the 7th, that would be great. That's 3 weeks. If not, then it's going to be another 5 weeks till the 21st.
So let's, there's a motion on the floor to defer to December 7th, then, Commissioner Sorensen?
Yep.
It's your district. Don't you pick the date?
Well, we have to pick a date.
You
That's
said
the,
the
that's
21st
the,
time, yeah.
that's the way it works.
What-
We have to pick
You have
a
to
date.
meet first.
Are you available within the next 3 weeks?
They need to call my office and make an appointment, or you can call me in my pocket like you used to do.
Are you available within the next 3 weeks to meet with these folks?
They can call and make the appointment. I'm not going to answer to you. You know that.
Well, we have to know.
Okay, all right,
because we have to have a
it's-
procedure.
Let us
Mayor.
meet. We come back and then we put it on the agenda. He said there's no rush. All of his buildings, all of his projects are like
It doesn't work.
on
that way.
hold.
Okay.
There's no
You
sense of urgency.
obviously don't like these people.
No, I
You
no,
can
that's
make
not
up
true.
whatever you want
That is not
to
true.
try to avoid-
Do I not like you?
Oh,
Ma-
God.
No, he put you in it, and you fell for the banana.
Mayor, I'm comfortable
I'll tell you about the
December
future.
7th,
December
the delay
7th.
until
Okay,
December
we'll
7th.
move- all right, December
Go
7th.
from there.
Yes,
Okay.
That's the motion. Thank you.
I second the motion.
Okay. All right. Please call the roll.
We've been here before.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Chair Trentalis.
Yes. So the item is deferred till December 7th. All right. Moving on. We have R3, This is a motion to approve an expenditure of $1,846,789.02 to fund the relocation of Florida Power and Light Company transmission facilities that crosses city property at 543 Northwest Fifth Avenue to facilitate the development of the property. Is anyone here to speak on that? There's some, hold on. There's, Mr. Jones, you've asked to speak, or is that just to answer questions? Okay. Does anyone have any questions with regard to this?
I have some questions for them too.
Mr. Jones, would you please come to the podium?
I know this is for a future development site, Sean. Please state your name.
Sean Jones, on behalf of the developer.
Please speak into the microphone. I can't hear you.
Sean Jones, on behalf of the developer, Village of the Arts Limited.
You too have a empty commercial building up there. Lots of spaces. We even have a couple tenants we gave you to do build outs for and become clients. I haven't seen any of those tenants come to fruition, and they're small mom and pops. I know the Family Dollar's there. I know we had Save a Lot there. I know we have Bank of America there. I know we have the phone company. Can't recall the name of it, but which are big people. But the little people are supposed to participate in this as well. And I've also sent clients to you as well. But I see these empty bays, and I just can't, for the life of me, understand why we still have empty bays so many years later, and all that we did to help bring these projects to fruition or to where they are today, and to have empty buildings. It's just, it's in my spirit, my fellow commissioners, and yet these same people keep coming back to the well to drink again. And I know that this was probably a previous agreement to do this FP&L piece, and maybe you can clarify that, someone on staff. Was this an agreement already in place that we have to honor? And I'm willing to do that. But I'm very concerned, Sean, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, very good friends of mine and my family, to see empty buildings. And you've had, this is the third property that you will be developing. The residential pieces you seem to be doing pretty good with, but the commercial pieces, where certain things were put in a development agreement and promised to the community, even a grocery store that we no longer have, that I really want to see, and nothing else. But I'm going to support this, but I'm giving you the same speech that I gave the young man before you. If you come to me in the future and these buildings are still empty, these bays are still empty, I have a problem with that. And it's not fair to this community, because what we knocked down over there all those years ago and made a promise to this community, it still hasn't been fulfilled. And that's disheartening. I've been here almost 8 years now, and haven't seen much movement in that plaza. So I'm going to support this because this was a previous agreement. Just like I did other group, I supported everything they did. Today I'm just upset when I see empty buildings and I don't see people really trying to work with the smaller mom and pop folks. So when we promised what is it, Jerk Shack?
Yeah, Crave Madness is the name of the company that was the applicant for the funding.
They're gone?
No, they're not. We're still working with them.
But why is it taking so long?
Part of it was in permitting, but we're very close to getting a permit on that.
How long has it been, Sean?
The permit process has taken 2 years.
To get a permit to do a build out in a new building?
Yes.
Anthony, does it take 2 years to get a permit for a build out?
Well, and it's not necessarily staff's issue or problem. The applicant used an out-of-state architect, and I will tell you that they went through I think 7 or 8 reviews to get to the place where they can actually get a permit.
Who's the contractor?
We're going to be the contractor,
So who's running the permits back and forth to the city? You or the
the applicant.
The applicant is? Is that how it works with CRA, Clarence? The applicant gets to run their permits back and forth? Come up here, please.
They're the they're the one who's applying for the permit, and we facilitate and help them as much as, I've actually personally delivered their plans to try to keep it moving, but we're in constant contact with them.
Good evening. Clarence Woods, manager CRA. So when you ask who actually is responsible for getting a permit, it just depends on how we provide the incentive. If it's 90% provided by the CRA, then the CRA does the whole procurement process where we put it out with bid sync, and whoever the contractor is then would be responsible for getting the permit. But if it's less than 90% and the applicant is going to undertake doing the construction, then the applicant, their architect, their contractor would then be responsible.
Even with them being out of town, no one thinks there's an issue with this?
It's their responsibility.
Okay.
Their responsibility to get it done.
So when do we anticipate bringing this online?
My hopes is that we have a permit next month.
Next month?
Yes.
Okay. If there's a problem, somebody's gonna let us know or contact me? I don't want you to be like last group, say that they try to reach me and they can't get me.
I'll let Clarence know
No, let me know.
That'll be fine.
Do you have his cell phone, Sean?
He has it.
Okay, so make sure.
Commissioner gave it to me.
Yeah, he's had it for years. But I'm frustrated. I'm not very happy with some of the people who have come to the corridor. Your plaza included, your other residential project, I think is, stellar. Used to be in my district, no longer in my district, but the plaza is. And this piece you're speaking of developing is in my district. And I really wanted to go forward, but I'm not the same person I used to be. And I want to see results because the people deserve it. You get to go home behind your gates or wherever it is you live, but these folks on 6th Trunk Corridor, that's where they live, and they've been waiting. They have been waiting. And then you get a person like a Jeff Burns comes in with a 613 project, and he's in and out of here in 14 months. FPNL but he's done. And I'm looking for results on the corridor, not excuses moving forward. So I'm going to support this, but we need that plaza full. And we need a grocery store. We need a grocery store. We need a grocery store. And the last time you and I talked, I said, if you needed help, we can call Publix together and we can figure it out. But I haven't talked to you in between. So I don't want you to get in a situation that the Fuse Group was, where he says that he can't get a hold of me. But I'm anticipating, something good there, a good grocery store. That's what was part of the promise to the people. So I'll support the item moving forward. And we also extended your lease on this property, and I think your delays are now because of this piece. Your option on your development agreement, we extended that about 2 years ago, right, Mayor? We extended the terms of it, remember?
Well, we're coming back in the regular agenda to amend the development agreement to set the plan to be able to actually move the project forward, if that's what you mean.
No, what I mean is we had a time certain development agreement where we extended it that you would have to do something by a time certain, or we would rescind the development agreement.
Yes.
Now, I know that this variable came into play and probably delayed it, but we can't keep delaying this project.
Well, I don't want to belabor it, but I mean, we provided financial commitments on this project back in November of 2017. And we've extended those commitments. Bank of America, they extended those commitments 12 times and waiting for us to be able to get to this point where the lines could be relocated, and we're here now. So, but I appreciate your patience.
All right. If you don't want to hear public questions from me, then you might want to make appointments and come to me and let me know when there's something going right or wrong, because we're going to lose something, either the development agreement or another tenant on the other parcel, because we had the young man before that from Las Olas who was putting the remember the drink shop there, some kind of remember the guy before that was coming in that we approved for in the plaza?
James Campbell?
No, not him. That's the third one. But we had another young man was putting it's before you, but it's still part of the process. So that we had another project planned and approved, and that guy never got his doors open. You know what I'm talking about? Huh? Somebody should know.
Sounds like it was
like
smooth.
Italian iced, yeah.
Okay.
What happened to that one?
He never moved forward. He never came up with his portion of the money.
Okay.
Well, I can tell you one of the reasons why he didn't come forward is because you charge very high rent and not consistent with the area, and that's what every prospective tenant has told me going forward, and that's why those storefronts continue to remain empty all these many years. The only tenant that really seemed to be able to afford it is the Bank of America, largest bank in the world, and we're lucky that we have that tenant. But it's really shameful. I agree with the commissioner that those you should have reduced the rate in half. I mean, just think of all the rent you lost, the millions of dollars in rent that have been lost over the years. Just because you're holding out for a higher rent. That doesn't even make economic sense. And the only reason why you're able to do that is because we gave you the land, and for whatever other reasons you have, it becomes economically acceptable for you to have empty storefronts. But going forward, that Save-A-Lot is moving out, and we need to have that rented, and whether it's a grocery store.
No. It has to be a grocery store according to the agreement. I'm not going to settle for anything less.
Well, the problem we have.
You have all the problems you want. I'm not settling for anything less because they were promised one thing. Yeah, but you didn't do this for the last person. You said that their rents were marketable. And
You just need to let people talk.
I am, Mayor.
Don't try to dominate the
Please
meeting
talk.
by
Please talk.
interrupting people.
Please talk. I'm sorry. I apologize.
So I've spoken with two grocery store chains, one Publix and one Winn-Dixie. And their comment to me is that they need more critical mass of population in order to justify a regular store there. First of all, what is the square footage of the Save-A-Lot?
15,600.
15,000. There isn't even a model in Publix wheelhouse for a 15,000 square foot grocery store. It's too small. So that's why we can't have a Publix there. And Winn-Dixie said the same thing. So you're going to get, and Save-A-Lot, to be honest with you, was really, I went in there several times, and it's just, it's not respectful of people to have a store that was it was dirty. The food was always rotting. I just thought that store was an insult to our community. So to force a grocery store that is not going to be economically viable and respectful to people that shop there, most of the people in the neighborhood shop either at the Publix on 15th Avenue in Sunrise, or they go to Walmart, because that's where they have respectable retail. But I just think we got to put something in there, and I would support whatever it takes to put something in there. Those major brands are not going to go in there because it's much too small a space. So anyway, let's move on. Someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
It's been introduced.
A resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency approving an expenditure to fund the relocation of Florida Power and Light Company transmission facilities that crosses City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida property located at 543 Northwest 5th Avenue, providing for an effective date. Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Chair Trentels.
Yes, and R3 is approved. Thank you, Mr. Okay. Thank you for coming. R4, resolution amending.
See you soon, all right? Soon.
Resolution amending resolution number 21-08, CRA, to increase the fee of the law firm of Greenberg Traurig LLP as special counsel to the Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency from $32,500 to $42,500 plus costs not to exceed $2,500 in connection with the closing on a taxable loan from Truist Bank in an amount not to exceed $23,100,000 to fund the Series 2021 Northwest Progressive Flagler Heights project, cost of issuance, and refinance the series of 2015 note. Anyone have any questions on this? There being none, would someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
It's been introduced. Please call the roll.
A resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency amending resolution number 21-08, providing for an effective date. Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Chair Trentels.
Yes, and the resolution is approved. Moving on to M1, motion approving a subordination agreement subordinating the CRA mortgage to 613 Northwest 3rd Avenue Holdings in the amount of $7 million to a new mortgage by Northmark in an amount not to exceed 85% of loan to value at the time of refinance. An amendment to the development agreement if necessary, a subordination of the regulatory agreement, and authorizing the executive director to execute any and all related instruments and delegating authority to the executive director to take certain actions. Jeff Burns, I see you're here. You've signed up, but just to answer questions. Anyone have any questions? This is to subordinate our loan to another loan. Is that correct, Mr. Boileau?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Anyone have any questions with regard to this item? Someone like to move the item?
So moved.
Do I hear a second? Do I hear a second?
Second.
I hear a second. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Chair Trentels.
Yes, and M1 is approved. Moving on to M2, motion appropriating unspent remaining Northwest Progressive Flagler Heights Community Redevelopment Agency estimated fiscal year 2021 year incentive fund balances. Do I hear a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Chair Trentels.
Yes, and M2 is approved. Moving on to public hearings. This is a public hearing accepting the property disposition and development proposal of Northeast 6th Development, LLC, for the purchase and development of CRA property at 1017 Sistrunk Boulevard and 606 Northwest 10th Terrace, and approving a $2,450,000 CRA development incentive program loan to the Northeast 6th Development, LLC, for the Victory Entertainment Complex, authorizing the executive director to execute any and all related instruments and delegating authority to the executive director to take certain actions. Someone like to, let's see, it's a public hearing. No one has signed up to speak. So is anyone here wishing to speak on PH1?
Looks like.
Are you here to speak on PH1 or just to answer questions? Answer questions. Okay. Anyone have any questions? Someone like to move to a closed public hearing?
Moved.
Second.
Been moved to second. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Chair Trentels.
Yes, public hearing is now closed. Is this a motion or what is this?
It's a resolution.
It's a resolution. Someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
It's been introduced.
A resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency approving the sale of real property located at 1017 Sistrunk Boulevard, 606 Northwest 10th Terrace, and Sistrunk Boulevard to Northeast 6th Development, LLC, in consideration of the sum of $450,000, approving a development incentive program for forgivable loan of $2,450,000 to the Northeast 6th Development, LLC, for the Victory Entertainment Complex, authorizing the executive director to execute any and all related instruments, delegating authority to the executive director to take certain actions, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Chair Trentels.
Just hold a second. Jay, you're involved, this is your thing? You're a partner. I think I have to abstain on this. I represent Mr. Adams on another transaction not related to this, so I don't know, do I have to abstain? I'm not involved in this transaction, but I think I represent him on another transaction.
Technically, you don't have to, but you're permitted to if you feel that it's more appropriate for you to do so.
Again, it's completely different than this, so I'm just gonna abstain. If that's
I think you should be all right, but do it to
Let me
protect
abstain
yourself.
to avoid the appearance of an impropriety. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't realize it until just now, but, okay, so have we finished calling the roll? And has been.
It passes 3-0.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How long is it going to take you to put this development up? Anybody from your group? Yes, come to the. And where are you with your? I mean, I'm ready to go. I'm just so excited. But I was excited with the last guy, but that was 7 years ago.
Excitement can only last so long.
Depends on what it is, my brother.
There you go.
Victor Harvey with Northeast 6 Development. I'm the managing member. To answer, first of all, thank commissioners and Mayor Trentalis. But to answer your question, we're ready to go. We have everything in place. One of the things that was very important to us was to be able to get tenants that were stable so that we don't run the risk of bringing in tenants that wouldn't be able to sustain. We have letters of intent for 100% of the building that we are ready
You're
to
coming with tenants?
Yes, we got the
Oh, my
tenants
goodness.
in place that are ready to commit to 10-year leases as soon as we get this process completed. They're all stable businesses. The restaurant's been around since 2004. The cigar bar location, this will be their 4th or 5th location. We're going to be one of the anchor tenants with the distillery, and we've been in business since 2016. In 2019, our core brand was distributed in just Florida. Now we're in 45 states. So we're coming in, we're ready to go. We have term sheets from the banks in place, and we have our own funds that we need to put in, and we're ready to go.
Let me know if you go past 6 months. Now, I don't want a 2 year, 2 years from now, you tell me.
Cell phone.
All right.
Got your cell phone.
Okay, don't call the office, call my cell phone.
Yeah. Everyone's got that number.
Hear that, Jay?
Any other
Okay,
questions?
any further questions? All right, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Congratulations.
Page 2, public hearing accepting the property disposition and development proposal of Sistrunk Apartments LLC for the development and donation of CRA property at 1204 Sistrunk Boulevard and 1620 Northwest 6th Court, and approving an $8 million CRA Development Incentive Program loan to Sistrunk Apartments LLC for the Aldridge and the Laramore mixed-use affordable housing projects, authorizing the executive director to execute any and all related instruments and delegating authority to the executive director to take certain actions. I see Mr. Lockery has signed up, but just to answer questions. Anyone have any questions?
Yes, Mr. Lockery. Everybody's gonna get the wrath, brother. Because I'm so excited, and then I'm just let down, years later. So how are we looking to get to the finish line?
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board. Robert Locker on behalf of the applicant. Our client is very anxious to proceed on this. As you know, we were awarded the RFP by the by the committee back in November of last year. This is the best important step to then get quickly into the permitting process. They have no interest in holding this out any longer than we possibly can. Interest rates are still an unknown, so their goal is to get under construction as quickly as they can.
Thank you, sir, and thank your group.
Do I hear anyone else wishing to speak on this? Do I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
Moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Chair Trentalis?
Yes, public hearing is now closed. Someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
It's been introduced. Please call the roll.
A resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency approving a forgivable loan of $8 million to Sistrunk Apartments LLC under the Development Incentive Program for the Aldridge and the Laramore mixed-use affordable housing projects, approving the donation of CRA-owned property located at 1204 Sistrunk Boulevard and 1620 Northwest 6th Court for the Fort Lauderdale, Florida 33311, authorizing the executive director to execute any and all documents related to this transaction, delegating authority to the executive director to take certain actions, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Chair Trentalis.
Yes, and PH2 is approved. PH3, resolution authorizing the issuance of the Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency Tax Increment Revenue and Refunding Notes, Series 2021. I have no one signed up. I have no one signed up to speak. Anyone here wishing to speak on PH3? There being nobody, would someone like to move to close public hearing?
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Chair Trentalis.
Yes, public hearing is now closed. Someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
A resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing the issuance and sale of its not to exceed $23,100,000 principal amount of Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency tax increment, revenue improvement, and refunding note, taxable series 2021 Northwest Progresso Flagler Heights Community Redevelopment Area Project to Truist Bank, the lender, as lender in connection with a loan to be made by lender for purchase of financing the cost of undertaking certain development projects within the Northwest Progresso Flagler Heights redevelopment area, as more specifically described here. The Series 2021 project, refinancing the agency's outstanding tax increment revenue note, Series 2015 Northwest Progresso Flagler Heights redevelopment area project, and paying the cost of issuance of the Series 2021 note, making finding and determinations as to said Series 2021 note, making certain findings of the necessity of the negotiated sale, accepting the proposal of the lender to make a loan to the agency and purchase the Series 2021 note, providing for the method of execution of the Series 2021 note, authorizing the expenditure of the proceeds of such loan, including the payment of the cost of issuance, approving the Series 2021 project, approving the form of a loan agreement with the lender, and authorizing the execution and delivery of such loan agreement and the Series 2021 note, pledging the pledge funds to the payment of the Series 2021 note, authorizing other required actions in connection herewith, providing for severability of invalid provisions, and providing an effective date. Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Chair Trentalis.
Yes, and PH3 is approved. Is there any further business of the CRA?
Can you just read the closed door announcement before we adjourn this meeting, and then we'll go up to the 7th floor conference room.
Okay, CRA meeting is now concluded. I now have this announcement to make. At this time, the City Commission shall meet privately to conduct discussions between the city manager, the city attorney, and the City Commission relative to pending litigation pursuant to Section 286.011, parentheses 8, Florida statutes in connection with the following matter. Fort Lauderdale Food Not Bombs et al. Versus City of Fort Lauderdale, case number 15 CV 60185 AMC. Present at the attorney-client session would be myself, Vice Mayor Heather Moritas, Commissioners Stephen Glassman, Commissioner Robert McKenzie, Commissioner Ben Sorensen, City Manager Chris Lagerblum, City Attorney Alan Waldo, Outside Counsel Michael Burke, and Certified Court Reporter from Daughters Court Reporting. The estimated length of the attorney-client session is approximately 20 minutes. That will be at 4:30, correct? So we will reconvene at 4:30 on the 7th floor conference room. Thank you.
Are we doing